listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Hello, you're listening to Animal Party on Pet Life Radio. And if you've come to the party with a dog that's a little afraid of other dogs, or maybe a dog who likes to pick on other dogs, well, today is the end of those troubles for you, where you're worrying about what your dog's going to do to other dogs, or worried about what's going to be done to your dog. Because there's a new product out there. I can't believe it's out there. I was so shocked to see it on the news. And recently you've heard me do shows on pit bull attacks and scared owners and even killed little dogs. And, you know, it's just such a shame when you take your dog who loves the dog park to the dog park and the wrong dog's there at that time. And then there's an incident. And if you could only backtrack a day or two, but you can't. So all over the world, we've got this problem of occasionally a nasty dog getting a hold of a sweet one, and injuries result. And so what do you do if you want your dog to have the fun of the dog park, but you don't want him to get injured? Well, today's guest, Allison Arnould, has an answer for that. Welcome to the show, Allison.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So I saw you on TV with the K-9 Guard protective dog jacket, and I was so excited. I'm looking at these dogs and they're dressed and I'm thinking, what are they wearing? What is this? What is that about? And then it got explained.
So it's just that. It's a dog jacket that, while also protecting the dogs from the elements, so it's waterproof. You know, we have winter and summer versions as well. They look pretty stylish, we think. There's an added protection of Kevlar inserts so that if your dog is out and about, you know, enjoying the dog park, as you mentioned, and some dog, unfortunately, gets a little too rambunctious, or, you know, there's a dog that's a little bit aggressive. If they try and bite down on your dog, you know, where sort of the neck area or the back area where the Kevlar inserts are, this jacket will protect them from that because it is bite proof. So it's an added protection. You know, it sort of keeps dog owners more confident when they go out with their dogs as well, because they don't have to worry about, you know, aggression from other dogs if they're out and about, especially with smaller dogs if they go to dog parks, because, you know, small dogs sometimes can be a target, unfortunately. But with these jackets, it does offer that added protection of them not being able to latch onto the dog because they are bite proof.
Well, okay, so the same stuff the police wear to protect from bullets, Kevlar, that's what you've got in these jackets?
Exactly, but it's much thinner than the police grade Kevlar because it's not meant to stop bullets, but it's stab proof. So it's probably, I'd say it's the thickness of about like a thick sweatshirt material. So very, very thin. And people are always like, well, is the Kevlar inside it? They buy the jacket and they said, well, where's the Kevlar? And we're like, it's right here. It's very thin. It's very lightweight. You wouldn't even necessarily know that it's, you know, a different jacket than a winter jacket unless you open up the zipper. And the Kevlar inserts are actually removable. So we ask that people, if they're washing their jacket, do remove the Kevlar inserts. And you can see they're very, very thin. And we've had them, you know, stab tested. We've had a police attack dog actually try and sort of destroy the jacket. It had a little toy inside of the jacket and went to town on it and didn't puncture the Kevlar at all.
To clarify, that was a toy, not a toy dog.
It was a toy.
No. Yeah. Okay.
We didn't put it on a dog and let it loose. But no, it was a trained attack police dog, and they put a toy inside one of our jackets and they sort of, you know, released the dog onto the toy. And we actually have a video of it, and it's pretty impressive.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the website for that? How can they hit that one?
So it's our website. It's www.thek9guard.com. And the K9 is letter K, number 9. So the video should be uploaded onto there. If not right now, then it should be within the next few days. So have a look for sure. It was, like I said, it's a pretty impressive, because the dog is a big dog. It's a big German Shepherd mix. So, and the jackets withstood that. And that was quite a prolonged, you know, quote unquote attack.
Yeah, prolonged. Yeah, that's one way to describe it. You know, one time I was at, I think it was the Great Canadian Pet Fair. I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. One of those big events where I was on stage and kind of, you know, on microphone and doing training demos. And the booth beside me was customs. And then beside them was police dogs. And they asked me a couple things. They said, you know, would it be okay if we hid our pretend drugs in your equipment? Yeah, sure. You know, would it be okay would you volunteer for a demo later today? And I said, yeah, sure. So the demo they wanted me to volunteer for, they patted me up in this thing that looked like a Michelin man, you know, the guy on the TV that's all like I was made of giant wads of paper towel or something. I was just completely, I could hardly move. I was just swathed in this just big dummy suit. And I'm thinking, it's like boiling hot. It's July. I'm sweating. I'm thinking, oh no, what's going to happen next? And the police dog is basically told to take me down, right? This is what I volunteered for. And I'm thinking, it'll be okay, right? I'm padded up. And it didn't bite me, or it didn't get through. But that what I didn't count on was the impact and the duration. Like he took me around the stage like a little toy. He threw me here, he threw me there. And I mean, he didn't stop for quite a while. And like it was whiplash. It was, I can imagine what this jacket endured. Really?
Yeah, well, and that poor little toy. I mean, but the jacket, I mean, obviously the exterior, which is the waterproof lining, got a few tears in it, but it didn't puncture the Kevlar at all. So, you know, as you experienced, there's quite a bit of force there with these trained police dogs. So, and again, you know, hopefully a dog wearing the jacket wouldn't, you know, be subject to an attack of that magnitude, but it withheld.
It's going to buy you time, right? It's going to buy you time. And that's key.
Exactly. And that's what we're telling people is that, you know, whether it be a wildlife attack, you know, for like a raccoon or an eagle or something with smaller dogs, or just another dog on dog aggression or a dog fight or whatever else, it gives the owner time to get to their animal and help them. You know, because a lot of times what happens with smaller dogs, bigger dogs, there's puncture wounds that happen, right? So the dogs sort of latch on, they grab onto the dog's hurt, they're not able to, you know, free themselves. But with these jackets, the dogs can't actually get a hold on the other dog. So there's not that initial puncture wound and where the dog, you know, might scream in pain. And that sort of sometimes aggravates the attack if there's a lot of noise. You know, there's just other dogs get involved.
Yes.
So it helps alleviate that. And also, I mean, puncture wounds are the ones that also get infected really easily. They're huge vet bills, you know, because you have to drain the infection. And so it's
the Frankenstein dogs when the tube's sticking out of the body dripping. Isn't that nice? That's nice. Yeah, that's especially great. Okay, so we're going to go to break and come back because I want to talk about these wildlife issues because that's a whole other thing I didn't even think about. The eagle carrying off the Yorkshire Terrier, the coyote carrying off any dog, old or young, or tricking it. So we'll come back. We're going to go to a commercial break, and we'll be back with K-9 Guard protective dog jackets. If you want to look it up, go for it. Stay tuned to Animal Party on Pet Life Radio.
Don't leave this party before it's over because the best is yet to come. Only losers leave the party early anyway. Party on. Back in a few.
Tired of wasting money on giant bags, boxes, and jugs of litter that don't last? Switch to World's Best Cat Litter, the only litter that lets you use less and get more. World's Best Cat Litter uses the concentrated power of corn to deliver outstanding odor control and easy cleanup. It's lightweight, 99% dust-free, and pet, people, and planet friendly. It's even flushable. Make the switch to World's Best Cat Litter and save $2. Visit www.saveonworldsbest.com.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
You're inside the VIP room
with the hottest party in town.
Back to the party.
Let's go!
Hello, you're back on Animal Party on Pet Life Radio, which means you're listening to me, Deb Wolf. And you might be listening to me on a live stream, on your phone, in your car. Your dog is listening too, so I just want to say, good dog, good dog. All right, so we're talking to K-9 Guard protective dog jackets, and we're talking with Allison, this product is just amazing. What it looked like to me when I first saw it on TV, they were showing the dogs sort of wearing them in the break of the newscast before they actually interviewed. And I thought, why are those dogs wearing those 80s jackets? Because they have these upturned collars, you know, like people used to wear the golf shirts with the upturned collar. All these dogs, they were looking mighty cool, real cool. So, okay, so what's with the upturned collar? I'm guessing that's the neck protection, right?
It is, yeah. So it goes right sort of below the ear, enough to be comfortable, so the dogs can still turn their heads. But it does cover sort of very vulnerable areas of the neck. If you've ever seen sort of pictures of unfortunate dog attacks, of dog-on-dog aggression, a lot of the time it's right near the neck, that neck area, and there's like the puncture wounds and stuff, as we spoke about before. So we wanted to give dogs that protection. It's also an area where dogs, if they're going to latch on to another dog, that's where they kind of do it, right? It's sort of the neck area. So with the Kevlar insert in that really cool 80s color, the dogs aren't able to latch onto another dog. And, should that sort of happen, your dog can get away quickly because they're not going to have that hold on them.
I think it's also, your color choices are good because sometimes I think people don't know what's going on. They see something brown and being taken away by something else. And they don't know that that's actually a coyote grabbing somebody's poodle or Yorkie. They don't know what's going on. But you see that bright orange or green jacket on a dog, and then there's some kind of animal taking, right? To step in, to shout, to scream, to make a loud noise, because sometimes that's all it takes.
Right. And that's why we made them such vibrant colors, because we wanted them to be visible, especially if you're out hiking, and there's either, another dog, or as we mentioned before, like the wildlife issue. If your dog is kind of, sniffing around the bush and something happens to it, it will be quite visible, regardless of where you are in the bush. And we also have, we have reflective stripes on them as well. So if you're taking your dog out, especially off leash at night, you'll be able to see them better as well if there's any light around with those reflective strips.
Okay, so have you had any actual reports of the jacket working in an attack situation?
We did. We actually got a call about a week and a half ago from a woman who had bought the jacket for her small dog. He's about 15 pounds. And he's one of these dogs who tends to get in bigger dogs' faces sometimes. Like, not aggressively, but just, play with me. And it's a bit annoying. So she knows her
close
dog has,
talker.
He's a close
talker, a bad
very
greeter.
Diplomatic way. Yes. So he was close talking to a dog, a big Old English sheepdog, and at a dog park. And I guess the dog just attacked him and continued, didn't stop. People were getting involved, pulling the dog away. She told us, she's like, the jacket saved my dog's life. She's like, there's no way that he would have been okay. And there was another dog, I guess, that tried to intervene, a big dog, and got quite a big puncture wound on his face because of this happening. So she called us. She wanted to give us that feedback. She's like, the jacket, held up, didn't come off, didn't slip off. Even after this dog sort of bit into her dog, tried to take him and shake him, but couldn't get a hold on the dog because of the jacket. So yeah, that happened just a week and a half ago. So, not that we'd ever want a dog to go through that trauma, of course, but we're happy that nothing more than, an emotional trauma happened to this dog. There was no wounds at all. Yeah.
But I'd also like this woman to think about maybe training the dog, getting it out to the entrance to a dog park or a busy cycling path or something where there's loads of people and getting it right. Teaching it how to greet properly, because you know what? It's kind of an accident waiting to happen.
It is. And the jackets in no way replace training. We're not saying, your dog could be kind of a jerk and it's fine because you have a jacket.
I'm glad you're saying that. Super jerk with super invincible jacket. Yes, here he comes, Jack Russell, to torment everyone at the dog park. Dum-da-da-dum. Yeah, no one can dismiss me now. Oh, no.
It's definitely not for that. And we would never sort of promote that because it's not safe. It's just, dogs get injuries on their heads. That's not covered. You really have to be mindful of the environment you're taking your dog into as well. But we also realize that sometimes you could be walking your dog on a leash perfectly under control, and a dog might come out of nowhere from a bush, right? And just kind of grab onto your dog. So it's more hopefully for situations like that than anything else. Okay.
All right.
But we did have that feedback.
Oh, I'm so glad. We're going to go to break, and then we're going to come back one more time. Stay tuned on Animal Party Pet Life Radio. I'm going to talk a little bit more about these K-9 Guard protective dog jackets. And we still haven't talked about the wildlife factor because, your dog has a handle on the back of his neck, a very convenient handle that I use to move puppies. Mama dogs used to move puppies, but it's not so convenient when it's being attacked. So we're going to talk about that. Stay tuned to Animal Party on Pet Life Radio.
is yet to come. Stick around.
The young lady from the rescue delivered happy, and I panicked. He was missing hair, stinky, scabby, and I thought, what did I get us into? The cause of his issue was poor nutrition. It was neglect. The other owners didn't care enough about him to give him the nutrition he needed. But I have a vet that I trust, and she recommended Dinovite, DINOVITE.com. I ordered the first 90-day supply, and within a couple weeks, his skin started clearing up. He didn't smell. He had more energy. He just had a glow and a bounce about him. We've been using Dinovite for the last year, and Happy the rescue dog is Happy the healthy dog. I tell all my friends who have rescues to give their dog the chance at a new start with Dinovite. It's going to pay off for you and your dog for years to come.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
It's designerpetsweaters.com. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports-themed. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit designerpetsweaters.com to order your four-legged fashions today. Your pets will stay warm for the winter and be runway ready. Large or small, we fit them all. designerpetsweaters.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hello, we're back at the party. I hope you're ready to party. And they're wearing their invincible jackets, their guard protective dog jackets, their K-9 guard protective dog jackets, suited up like the police, no doubt. So, yeah, you got to get them on these dogs if you think you're putting your dog in danger, if you think there's wildlife. When else have they got to think about it, Allison? When's a good time to give your dog a K-9 guard protective dog jacket?
Well, really, I mean, anytime. You know, we have my smaller puppy. He's about 6 months old. I'd say he's about 35 pounds now. You know, whenever we go hiking, I always put a jacket on him. I put a jacket on him when we go to the dog park just because he's a puppy. You know, he doesn't always, he's learning how to properly greet and how, not to be sort of an irritant to older dogs. But I want to make sure that he's protected should anything happen to him. We also go hiking in the sort of backcountry quite a bit. There's a lot of coyotes around here, eagles especially when he was smaller. So it makes me feel better. I'm more able to enjoy my walk with my dog. And, dogs are very sensitive. They can sense if you're nervous. I can't even imagine having a really tiny dog and going on a beach, for example. We have tons
You'd be looking at the sky.
I would, because we have a lot of bald eagles here too.
We do. And they do take dogs.
There has been reports. So I think, not only is it, a good protection, it also is peace of mind. And that's a huge thing for me because, I don't want to be nervous bringing my dog out. I feel much more confident that I would be able to intervene should something happen if he was wearing a jacket. And you know what? I mean, he's white too, so it's waterproof, and the mud sort of just slides off it. It's great. So it's multi-purpose.
I'm thinking about a puppy. So you get this puppy and you want him to learn how to meet and greet at a dog park, and you want him to learn things from older dogs. I would. And you want him, while he's still young and he's in that fear period and he's still impressionable, you want him to have some experiences where other dogs roll him a little bit. He's too rough. They're rough back. He jumps on their head when it's inappropriate. They're an older senior dog. They grumble at him. You want all that. But on the other hand, what if it's the wrong day at the wrong time and he gets rolled and he cries like he's supposed to and there's just a pile on, right? That's when you need this jacket, because you don't want to be so afraid that you keep your dog from learning what he needs to learn from other dogs. So it's such a great idea.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hope, like I said, we feel that it's a good idea. It's also something that can be worn on a daily basis. So it's not like some of these, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the coyote jackets that have the spikes on them. There's one that's on the market right now.
But that's not good for playing with other dogs and socializing, and it creates a problem. And
No, and so we wanted something that would be very versatile and user-friendly, but also adds like that protection for the dogs, as well as peace of mind for the owners. We, both my business partner and I, Sarah, we're very involved in dog rescue. So we've seen the effects of, dog-on-dog aggression and the thousands of dollars in vet bills. We've had some of those thousands of dollars in vet bills for some of our rescue dogs that have been attacked. It's hugely financially burdensome if something like that happens to you. The trauma to your dog emotionally, is also pretty significant. So we really
there's
feel
so
strongly about
much. First, okay, so maybe you get a minor bite wound. Maybe it only needs antibiotics and a cleanup and a shave. Maybe if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And then your dog's afraid of all other dogs, and so are you. And every time you go out, you're nervous, and so is he. And now he's got issues, and you can't just walk him at the dike or the river or the beach anymore. Everything changes, and now maybe he doesn't digest his food so well because he's so nervous, and spiral. Now he's picking at himself. Now he has a skin condition. Okay, that's a minor one. What if he really gets mauled? What if limbs are broken, skin is torn, tubes have to be inserted, recovery's weeks or months. Somebody has to come home from work every day to let him out. He has to be segregated from other animals. It's messy. I mean, it can be terrible, and thousands, and not all of it may be covered. So I totally get your point. I mean, and then you got to teach that dog to trust again and to discern which dogs are a threat and which dogs aren't. And you got to get the human to stop being so nervous, because every time the human is nervous, the dog gets nervous, and that draws problems. So I could totally see your point. The jacket is so preventative, really.
Mm-hmm.
How did you think of this? How did you guys come up with it?
Well, actually, it was after a dog attack at a dog park that was close to Sarah's mom's house, and she was talking about it. And I think she had witnessed the after effect, like the dog with the injuries. And Sarah and I started talking about it, and we said, this happens so much, and there'd been so many reports on, there had just been a service dog that had been mauled to death a couple of days before by an off-leash dog that had actually had a leash on but broke free of its owner and went and eviscerated this poor dog. So, we were thinking there must be something. Like people who have aggressive dogs, wear a muzzle, that's great, but it doesn't help you protect your dog if your dog is, out and about. So we started looking at different designs.
And that idea that people who have aggressive dogs put a muzzle on it, only the good people do that.
Exactly, right? So you can't trust, we wanted owners to be able to take that safety precaution back, into their own hands instead of relying on other people to be good dog owners. So we were thinking
it's
about
like defensive driving. It really is. And when I think
and with the snow these days, that.
There was an incident last year or maybe it was 2 years ago, but came to court last year, where a big dog killed a little dog outside a cafeteria or a restaurant. And it wasn't the owner, it was the owner's friend, right? So sometimes, you experience this dog that you don't know well enough, but you think you do. And he's always nice with you. So you take him on a walk or you take him off leash, and boom, that's the moment where he shows what the owner already knew was going to happen. And that's why he never takes him to the cafe or, so I think sometimes, you can't really count, even if people have the best of intentions, sometimes the wrong thing happens. Or, the dog can be unpredictable. There's always a first time.
There is. And, and dogs can run out of a doorway that's half open, right? Or a gate that wasn't quite closed properly. There's so many things that can happen that are beyond sometimes your control. And so again, it's not saying that, oh my gosh, it's a horrible dog owner. Accidents happen. You might not know your dog's aggressive towards like a certain type of whatever might happen. But again, we wanted to be able to give dog owners something to take and sort of be preventative on their own end, get some control back in that situation. So the jackets,
to that end too, sometimes a dog will be good-natured and sweet its whole life. And then either because it's getting elderly or because it has some chronic or acute pain, it will react differently than it used to, right? And that's okay. All of a sudden, I had this Mastiff who used to come to Camp Good Dog. Everybody loved it. It loved everybody. Social. One day it came and it was snapping at all the other dogs. And I went to touch it and it winced when I went to touch it. So sure enough, we sent it to the vet and it had this spinal condition. And so that's, it's good that the pain shows up. It's good the dog let us know. But you don't want your dog to die because that dog was in pain and nobody recognized the sign earlier, right? Like it can be such an accident that causes, you can say, well, I only let my dogs with dogs we know. I let my dogs with the neighbor, but one day maybe that neighbor dog has a sore foot and your dog steps on it just wrong and bam, right? So this jacket is so good for what you don't expect. That's what I think is so great about it.
Yeah. And that's, again, like, and people have asked us questions about, in the summer, they're like, oh, is it going to be too hot? Because Kevlar, people imagine like the bulletproof vest and the thick sort of like Michelin Man type of thing. But again, these are very lightweight. And, if it was a really hot day, most people, they don't take their dogs for a huge long hike anyways. So I don't think it would make a dog overheat any more than a regular anything, like a rain jacket. They're very lightweight. They're very, like I said, all season. You can put them on pretty much any time. They are waterproof. They're easily washable. So my dog wears them all the time. And it definitely makes me feel a lot more confident when I'm out and about with my
When
pup.
I think of the money people spend on outfits and costumes and silly things for their animals and things that maybe aren't even good for their animals that make them feel good because it's seasonal, right? The Christmas treats that are dyed red and the toys that they know their dog's going to eat and destroy and they shouldn't even give them, but it's Easter and it looks like an egg. Put that money toward a K-9 guard protective dog jacket if you've got a dog that you think might get snapped by a coyote or you think maybe he's a troublemaker. Maybe he's a ball stealer. Oh my goodness, do those dogs ever get their comeuppance,
Yeah.
A tail puller. I got a standard poodle who has a tail himself, so I don't know why he does this, but he loves to pull other dogs' tails, and I have another one who has no tail, a Rottweiler who does the same thing. It's kind of sneaky in a fun sort of way, but the dog getting its tail pulled is not amused, right? Not amused at all.
Yeah. Well, it's all these little idiosyncrasies that dogs have, and you never know what dog is going to react badly to something like that. So, and it happens so quickly. I mean, dogs are fast, so again, it gives the owner the opportunity to, in that moment, to sort of have something, if something is going to happen, to intervene because your dog isn't going to be initially hurt. You can sort of, take control of the situation and protect your dog.
It reminds me of an ice hockey game when the kids are playing and they get hurt and then the parents run on the ice to try and deal with the injury. And it's like the parents are in slow-mo because the kids are skating around. It's like that, right? The dogs are whipping around and something's happening way down there 100 yards away. And then more dogs are there before any humans. And the thing is, if your dog's in pain, especially if it's a puppy, it's going to make a really high squealing noise. And that could happen even if it just, breaks a toe, turns an ankle, stumbles a bit on the ice. And once it makes that shrieky sound, that's a lot like prey, some dogs may do the wrong thing. So there's a whole other time when this K-9 guard protective dog jacket really is going to be a godsend, especially if your dog, is a bit of a shrieker, because shrieking draws trouble.
For sure.
And training will help with that because the shriekers are just not used to other dogs. They just need more experience.
Yeah. It's, and again, like the socialization and the training aspect of having a dog is so important. And we would never want, people to think that they can just throw a jacket on it and sort of ignore all of that very important foundational stuff for a dog. But it does, as they're learning, if you're nervous, if the dog's in a situation where you're going to be encountering dogs that you don't know very well, it's a really good safeguard for both of you. We actually have quite a few service dogs that are wearing the jackets all the time now because service dogs are trained to be non-reactive. So even if another dog reacts aggressively towards them, it's ingrained in them not to react to these dogs. So they're kind of a little bit targets, right? And they're always with their handler, and they provide a very, very important service. They're working, right?
Especially
in the public all the time.
Oh yeah. What about a seeing eye dog? I mean, they can't take their eye off the person they're helping see to go defend their honor with some up and coming dog that wants to mount them from behind and take a piece out of their ear.
Yeah, and their owners, oftentimes their handlers, are sometimes vulnerable themselves, and so they can't necessarily always, help their dog if they were to get into a situation because of their own, vulnerabilities or whatever, or what have you. So for service dogs and their handlers, it's a really good protection as well, because these dogs provide an invaluable service to these people. They need their dogs, and they're with them all the time. So they're much more at risk of, being in a situation just because they're exposed so much more, where they might be,
and they're trespassing.
They're target.
They're trespassing on other dogs' territory more than most because they're with their owner. When you have an intact dog also, which includes any puppies that haven't yet been spayed or neutered, especially neutered, when you have intact males, they are also a target. So if you own an intact male of any size, he's a target for any male that wants more status. So you might want to consider getting the K-9 guard protective dog jacket for them too. The boys with balls, they are given a hard time everywhere they go. They are.
Oh, I know.
It's just like, and it doesn't matter how friendly and sweet and innocuous the little guy is. Everybody's like, I could roll him. Yeah, you could. Yeah. Why are you doing that? Yeah. So what's coming up next? I hear that there's that you're trying to improve it to cover more of the dog. What's coming out in the future?
Yeah. So we actually have a prototype that's in the works right now, and it's basically a very similar jacket, except for it has a breast piece. So it goes under, it covers the chest and goes in between the legs and up towards sort of the underbelly. So it doesn't, cover too far down, so the male dogs can still go to the bathroom without issue. But it does cover, the very, very vulnerable sort of chest and upper abdomen area. And that's with the Kevlar insert as well. So it's, I'm not sure if you've ever seen some of the harnesses that have the webbing down the front. It's kind of like that, but with Kevlar. And that's because, we've seen sort of, some dog attacks where the dogs might get flipped over and, the chest and belly might get some damage done to it, as well as wildlife attacks. Oftentimes it'll be, sort of the abdomen might get a little bit and the upper chest might get a little bit damaged. It's also for dogs that hike quite a bit. My older dog is like a gazelle. So he's like jumping and running through the woods, and I can always just picture him like impaling himself on a big branch sticking up. So I get quite nervous when I see him hopping around in the woods. But with this, it would be, again, Kevlar sort of breastplate. So were he to land on a upturned stick, it would protect his chest and abdomen area from that as well.
I had a customer, a Rottie hound dog cross years ago that terrified people. So I taught him, he wasn't scary, but people were scared of him. And I taught, it was in the 80s, and there was like Rottweiler rage articles in the paper and all this stuff. So he used to go to this place called Trout Lake, which was a dog park with loads and loads of people. Only then it wasn't an official dog park. And so I taught him to just always bring a ball, right? If someone was looking at him, he would always have a ball in his mouth, and he would go up to men who could throw and drop the ball, and he would look at the ball and look at them and look at the ball, and then he would pick it up and then he'd drop it again. And nobody ever feared him anymore. He was the guy with the ball, right? Everybody threw for him. Well, one day, one of these guys threw a really bad throw, and it went right through one of the benches. And the dog went right through one of the benches. And I had to take him, along with my other customers, in the van and go to the closest vet, quickest one I could find, and get there. And I'm standing in the waiting room with this dog with a piece of the bench going in his chest and a piece of the bench going out his ribs. And it's dripping on the floor. And he's acting like no problem. He's got the ball, right? He's got the ball. He's okay. He's got the ball. Yeah. And I got to the front desk. She's like, "May I help you?" I'm like, "I think so." She looks down. She's like, "Come right this way." But, it can happen that fast. He was fine, by the way. He didn't even need stitches. It was remarkable. It didn't actually go through. It broke into, it just looked like it. It was like a magician's trick, but it sure it sure fooled me. But he was okay. But it can happen that fast, even to a big, tough dog like that, right? So I totally get why you're selling this thing. I mean, I just think it's great. Usually I look at the products on TV and I think, oh, come on. Grass, fake grass, they're supposed to pee on inside. Gross, I mean, I look at this stuff and I think anybody with a dog would not want that. And then I saw your product and I'm thinking, oh no, that's clever. That's what we need. That's really what we need, especially those little fluffy dogs that people like to put out in their yards, and they're always worried, come on now. This is what you need. So, okay, I want to read your mission. The K-9 Guard's mission is to reduce the risk of dogs being seriously injured while out hiking, walking, or socializing with their human companions by creating protective gear they can wear comfortably in any environment. I love it. I love it. It's not bling. It's not, we're trying to make a memory or, designer outfit. No, we're trying to let them be dogs and be safe. So it's just great. Mm-hmm. It's just great. So I want to thank you for joining me today. We're all out of time on Pet Life Radio.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It was great talking to you.
Thank you very much. So that was Allison Arnould, a company kind of where I live, near Vancouver, BC, where Camp Good Dog is, selling the K-9 Guard protective dog jackets. I'm going to try and post a link to that on my website, but in the meantime, you can find her. I found her on Facebook, so that's one way to do it. The letter K, 9, the number 9, Guard. All right, everybody, from Pet Life Radio and Animal Party and me, Deb Wolf. Until next time, be good to your animals.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.